Hi, I'm Jennifer of Burr Oak Studios, Knitting Needle and Crochet Hook Jewelry. This is a quick tutorial on how to resize a bracelet, either to make it a little bit bigger or to make it a little bit smaller. To do some surgery on this bracelet, we're going to need a couple of jump rings to make it larger. To work with the jump rings for both larger and smaller for the bracelet, we're going to need some pliers. I use bent nose pliers. Doesn't matter if they're bent or straight, but you may want to consider having flat pliers instead of ones with ridges. The ridges can just mar the surface of your jump rings or your chain. And then to size down this bracelet, we're going to utilize some waist wire. You could even use a safety pin or a sewing needle, something that's going to fit in between the links of the chain that are under the beads here, just to hold them in place, sort of as a stopgap so we don't lose beads. Okay, let's start with making the bracelet a little bit larger. You do kind of want to stick with similar size jump rings. That mostly it's an aesthetic thing, but also if the clasp is, especially if it's on the bar side, it may not fit through the clasp as well. So if you do have larger jump rings and you want to add them on, I would definitely add them on the receiving side. That way you don't have to worry about the clasp is going to join through here. It's not going to mess up on that side. Okay, so we're going to need to open the jump ring that's already on the project. And to do that, I'm going to use 2 pairs of pliers. You can use your fingers if you don't have a manicure, which I don't, but I'm trying not to break my nails further. To open the jump ring, you don't want to do a pull apart motion, like pulling the jump ring apart. You want it to be a front and back, moving the ends away from each other. So I'm going to grab both of them here in the pliers, and I'm going to push one and pull one towards me. Then I'm going to take off the half of the clasp that's already over here. Just set it aside for a minute because we're going to add a jump ring. Close this again, that bringing the ends back together. I'm going to grab another jump ring and put that down for a second. We're going to open this one, same motion, pushing one towards me and one away, opening that up. Then we're going to add that to the existing jump ring. Put the clasp back on, and that will add about 1/4 inch to this particular project. If you need to add a couple more, you could certainly do that. And then you're just going to go ahead and close this. And you do want a pretty close seal on this, just so the bit of wire from the jump ring next door to it can't sneak through any openings. So that's making it larger. Now to make it smaller, what we're going to do is identify where on the bracelet you want to go. And just keep in mind, you do want to keep a little bit of space on the bracelet. See how you can actually see the chain in between? That allows for movement so that the bracelet is fluid. It's not real rigid because the beads aren't stacked right up next to each other. You can see it doesn't move quite as well if it doesn't have any extra chain in there. So just keep that in mind as you're determining how you're going to size it. All right, so let's say we want to come about here and take a couple of links out and a couple of beads. I'm taking this waste yarn and I'm literally going to feed it through the links of the chain, and that's going to be my safety stopper so that all of the beads don't fall off the bracelet while we're working on it. If I can get them through here. There we go. This is just a little bit of waste wire I had hanging around. Like I said before, you could use a skinny little paper clip if you straighten it out. You could use the backing of an earring, anything that will help you. So you can see I've just fed that through there to stop that. All right, then I'm going to open the jump ring that the chain is on. And I'm going to use my nails this time, because it can't be bothered to pick up the other pliers. And you can see those came off really easily. So now we have just some empty chain here. This is a bracelet that actually does not need resizing. I just happen to have it around for this demonstration. So I'm not going to take the chain off, but if you guys see right here, again, I do want to leave a little bit of room. So I'm not going to take off. I've determined where I want it to shorten to, but I've also considered leaving a little bit of chain on there for the movement of the bracelet when I get it back together. So if I were going to shorten this bracelet, I would probably, this chain right here, that's the one I would open, and that still leaves me 1, 2, 3 links of chain in the bracelet to allow for ease of movement. Then when I get to the point where I have opened the chain and taken the one that I want off, we'll pretend this is it now. It's a lot easier to hold this in your hands, or sorry, in the pliers in your hands, just it's my fat fingers get in the way. And we're just going to feed this jump ring back through it. Put the clasp back on. Shut the clasp. And it has been resized. I would recommend doing this over a plate at the kitchen table, just because the little bits and pieces can go flying pretty easily. But that is resizing, either up or down, a knitting needle bracelet.